Across the vast plains and dry woodlands of Zimbabwe, wildlife pulses with a raw energy found in few other places on the African continent. Shaped by the mighty flow of the Zambezi River and framed by the ancient silhouettes of towering rock formations, this land is both breathtaking and unforgiving. Nature governs every moment here, from crimson sunrises that wash over the savanna to hushed nights when predators move silently through the brush, like echoes of a distant past. Extreme weather dictates the rules of survival. Prolonged dry seasons turn grasslands into fragile sheets of dust, forcing animals to travel great distances in search of water and nourishment. When the rains finally return, the land is reborn, but so are the challenges. Boundaries are tested, herds shift their structure, and hunters become more relentless in their pursuit. In Zimbabwe, every encounter, whether on the open plains of Hwange, along the wetlands of the Zambezi, or among the rugged hills of Matobo, is a measure of endurance. Wildlife here faces more than predators alone. Drought, rivalry, and constant uncertainty shape daily life. This is a realm where survival is a refined skill, balanced between strength, instinct, and chance. In the untamed heart of Zimbabwe, life moves forward with courage, while danger is never far away. In the distance, a vast herd of African buffalo makes its way toward greener pastures and a vital water source. Upon reaching the watering hole, surrounded by lush vegetation, they pause, enjoying a brief moment of calm. Unseen, the lions adjust their position. Some veer to the left while others melt into the bushes near the muddy banks. The buffalo drink peacefully, tails swaying lazily, unaware of the danger closing in. Slowly, the lions press deeper into the wetland, shrinking the gap between predator and prey, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Then, without warning, the signal is given. A powerful roar from the dominant male shatters the silence, igniting the ambush. Chaos erupts as the buffalo scatter, hooves pounding the earth, horns swinging wildly as panic takes hold. One buffalo drifts too far from the safety of the herd, an aging bull, slower than the rest. The lions react instantly, surrounding him with remarkable precision and coordination. Hearing the thunder of paws behind him, the bull turns sharply, eyes blazing, prepared to confront what cannot be avoided. In a desperate effort, he charges, attempting to break through the encirclement. But the lions close in from every direction. One leaps onto his back, gripping tightly, while another clamps onto his leg. The buffalo fights fiercely, shaking and bellowing in a final struggle to escape. Within moments, more lions join the assault, tightening the circle. Their movements are relentless and perfectly timed, the result of countless hunts before this one. They show no hesitation, each action reinforcing the next. At last, the buffalo collapses. The struggle is over. Dust settles slowly around the fallen giant. As the sun continues its climb into the sky, the lions claim their reward, another chapter of survival written on the plains of Zimbabwe. Golden morning light filters through the canopy, gently warming the forest floor below. From between the trees, a troop of baboons emerges, moving confidently among branches and undergrowth as they scan the landscape in search of their first meal of the day. Their path leads them to a shallow pond covered with blooming lotus flowers, a rich feeding ground filled with stems, roots, and small aquatic delicacies. With practiced movements, they dig into the soft mud, pulling out tender shoots and roots to chew and share, savoring the cool freshness of the early morning. The troop moves constantly, crossing back and forth as they search for more edible plants. The confrontation is intense. Harsh grunts echo through the clearing as fur flies and powerful blows land. The rivals grapple fiercely, pushing, biting, and pulling at each other's coats. Dust swirls into the air, and their calls carry deep into the surrounding woodland. The rest of the troop retreats quickly, scrambling into nearby trees, watching with a mix of caution and curiosity. At last, one male yields and withdraws into the brush, beaten and alone. The victor remains standing, dominant and silent, his presence unmistakable. With the conflict resolved, the tension fades. One by one, the baboons descend and continue on their journey, still hungry, still driven by the endless search for food in the wild. Deep within Zimbabwe's untamed wilderness roams a predator both clever and relentless, the African wild dog, also known as Lycaon pictus. These hunters embody a rare balance of speed, strategy, and extraordinary social intelligence. Unlike domestic dogs, wild dogs live and operate as a single organism, guided by an ancient system of cooperation and loyalty. Every individual has a role, and together they achieve a level of hunting success unmatched by most predators. Packs typically range from 2 to 20 members, led by a dominant alpha pair that directs movement and decision-making. Bonds within the group are remarkably strong, reinforced through mutual grooming, complex vocal communication, and shared experience. Their greatest strength lies in flawless coordination during a hunt. Every action serves a purpose, and hesitation can mean failure. Unlike lions, which rely heavily on stealth and sudden ambush, African wild dogs prevail through endurance, collective planning, and constant pressure. Their target is steadily driven, surrounded, and denied escape. The outcome is usually swift and efficient part of nature's uncompromising balance. As evening approaches, the pack regroups, fed and alert, scanning the wind for the paths they will follow next. In their eyes burns an ancient determination that has sustained their legacy for generations. Often called painted wolves, they are far more than hunters. They are symbols of wild harmony. Though not the largest carnivores on the savanna, African wild dogs are among the most formidable. Their teamwork is unrivaled, and their persistence unyielding. Where lions depend on sheer strength, Wild dogs approach each hunt like tacticians, planning every move with precision. Each pursuit begins with careful observation. They study herds from a distance, identify weaknesses, and anticipate movement. Guided by sharp instinct, the alpha pair selects the right moment and the most vulnerable target. The first phase is containment, closing off escape routes in what becomes a deadly chess match played across the open plains. As exits vanish, panic overtakes the animal trapped at the center. A subtle shift in the alpha's posture signals the attack. What follows is sudden and decisive. Unlike leopards that depend on a single explosive strike, wild dogs rely on stamina. They rotate roles, some chase, while others recover, maintaining relentless pressure. Fatigue builds. A wildebeest stumbles. That single misstep changes everything. The leading dogs surge forward, securing the prey with precise, practiced movements. Within moments, the rest of the pack joins, ensuring the struggle cannot continue. They are not the loudest, nor the most imposing predators, but they may be the most efficient. Every successful hunt is not just nourishment, but a lesson passed to the next generation. They do not seek dominance. They seek survival, and they achieve it together. Even amid the frenzy, there is structure. Young pups linger at the edge, watching, learning, tasting the rewards of what will one day be their responsibility. This is more than feeding, it is tradition, a survival ritual etched deep into instinct. Yet vigilance never fades. Eyes remain sharp, ears tuned to every unfamiliar sound. Suddenly, a familiar shape emerges from the grass. A low, unmistakable laugh breaks the silence. A hyena bold, hungry, and uninvited moves toward the center of the feast. The wild dogs stiffen. Growls ripple through the pack as they prepare to defend their claim. The pack responds as one. They surround the intruder, forming a tight ring of resolve. The hyena postures defiantly, but the imbalance is clear. Outnumbered and outmatched, it hesitates, then retreats. Moments later, it vanishes into the golden grass, leaving behind a heavy tension in the air. The wild dogs return to their meal, more alert than before, united once again. Beneath the shade, the pack rests bellies full, bodies weary, but spirits steady, ready for whatever the wild may bring next. Resting atop a low earthen rise, a leopard lies completely still, calm, focused, and perfectly blended into its surroundings. In the distance, herds of zebras and impalas graze peacefully, unaware they are being watched. The leopard lowers its body until it nearly touches the ground, muscles tightening as its gaze locks onto an impala that has drifted slightly away from the group. Earlier, it had climbed a tree, patiently studying every movement below. With soundless steps, the leopard begins its approach, using tall grass, shadow, and stillness as cover. The impala continues feeding alone, just far enough from the herd to become the ideal target, unaware it has entered the center of a deadly ambush. Without warning, the leopard bursts into motion. A sudden surge of power races across the open ground. The impala reacts in panic, fleeing in a cloud of dust, sprinting in confusion and fear. But the leopard closes the gap with remarkable speed and precision, launching forward in a final leap and bringing its full weight down upon the fleeing antelope. The impala struggles fiercely, kicking and twisting in a desperate attempt to break free. The leopard holds firm, jaws locked, muscles fully engaged. Gradually, the impala's movements weaken. Though it continues to resist, its strength fades with each passing moment under the predator's grip. At last, the leopard drags its catch into dense cover, vanishing into the undergrowth, hidden from scavengers and rivals. It can now feed undisturbed, another silent hunt completed beneath the watchful skies of the African wild. The African open-billed stork, Anastomus lemmelligerus, is a distinctive bird found throughout wetlands, lakes, and seasonally flooded grasslands across much of Africa. Its plumage is typically deep black or very dark brown, and in direct sunlight it reveals a subtle bluish sheen. Its most recognizable feature is its bill, which appears slightly open in the center even when closed. This unique adaptation allows the stork to grip snails, clams, and mussels with remarkable precision, prey that makes up the majority of its diet. Standing between 80 and 94 centimeters tall, it has long legs and an extended neck, moving with a slow yet unexpectedly graceful stride. highly specialized for feeding on freshwater snails. The open-billed stork uses its sharp bill and uniquely shaped jaws to grasp the shell, twist it, and extract the soft tissue with skill. It often stands motionless for extended periods along the edges of ponds and marshes, waiting patiently for prey to come within reach before striking with a swift, accurate motion. In addition to mollusks, its diet also includes small fish, insects, and other aquatic invertebrates. Beyond its feeding habits, this bird plays a vital ecological role. By helping regulate snail populations that can impact crops and fish ponds, the African open-billed stork contributes to maintaining balance within flooded ecosystems. Sunlight spills across dense mopane woodlands and broad stretches of bush willow scrub. Moving steadily through the open grasslands, a herd of hartebeest advances with caution, their watchful eyes scanning every shadow beneath the trees. They know that danger can emerge at any moment. The size of these herds changes with the seasons and environmental conditions, ranging from small groups of around 20 to massive gatherings of more than 300 animals. The hartebeest is the last surviving member of the genus Alcelaphus, a lineage uniquely adapted for life on open plains. Over millions of years, it has evolved unusually long legs, built for endurance and high-speed escape when threats arise. Its eyes are set high on the skull, providing an expansive field of vision that allows it to detect predators from great distances. At the first sign of danger, hartebeest flee in straight-line bursts, reaching speeds of up to 55 kilometers per hour. When escape is no longer an option, they rely on their long, curved horns measuring between 45 and 70 centimeters to defend themselves, forcing even formidable predators to hesitate before making an attack. Across the wide landscapes of Zimbabwe, under an unforgiving sun, a sturdy and ever-alert figure moves close to the ground, the warthog. unlike many species that retreat during the hottest hours of the day. This resilient wild pig remains active even under the harsh midday light. Tracking studies show that a warthog may spend between 60 and 70% of its day foraging, with peak activity in the early morning and late afternoon. Pregnant or nursing females, driven by greater energy demands, often extend these feeding periods even further. With a low, compact body and a pair of curved, scimitar-shaped tusks, warthogs are well equipped to dig deep burrows for shelter at night. Those same tusks also serve as effective defensive tools when danger arises. During the dry season, when fresh grasses become scarce, warthogs adopt a distinctive feeding posture, kneeling on their front legs to graze. This behavior helps conserve energy as they pull up tough roots and shoots from the soil. Their diet is highly adaptable. When needed, they supplement it with carrion and may even hunt insects or small animals. Though not large in size, an adult warthog is far from helpless. It can charge with surprising force, reach speeds of up to 45 kilometers per hour, and mothers defending their young have been known to confront mid-sized predators such as jackals. Yet their presence along the edges of savanna and scrubland can also create ecological tension. During prolonged droughts, some warthogs venture into buffer zones in cultivated areas, damaging crops such as rice, peanuts, and cassava. For several communities living near wildlife reserves, they are considered occasional agricultural pests. Adding to these concerns, warthogs can act as natural hosts for the tsetse fly, an insect capable of transmitting African sleeping sickness. This association heightens challenges in regions where human settlements and wildlife habitats overlap. with fewer than 5,000 individuals remaining across the entire continent. The black rhinoceros is listed by the IUCN as critically endangered. Of its original subspecies, only 3 continue to survive today, clinging to scattered fragments of suitable habitat. The western black rhino was officially declared extinct in 2011, a stark reminder of how quickly a species can disappear. Smaller than its close relative, the white rhinoceros. The black rhino is nonetheless a powerful and commanding animal. It can stand up to 1.8 meters at the shoulder and weigh as much as 400 kilograms. Its thick skin, shaded in tones of earthy brown to slate gray, allows it to blend seamlessly into the African bush. Its most iconic feature, the horn, which grows continuously and can reach lengths of up to 1.5 meters, has also become the source of its greatest danger. Once a symbol of strength and resilience, the horn is now the reason this ancient species faces extinction, driven by demand in illegal markets, particularly for use in traditional medicine and as a status symbol in parts of Asia. The trade in rhino horn has pushed the black rhinoceros to the edge. And yet, within the wild heart of Zimbabwe, a quiet struggle continues. A fragile but determined effort to protect and restore the species is still underway. It is a battle fought far from the spotlight, but one that offers a faint, enduring hope for one of Africa's most threatened icons. The African Cape buffalo stands among the most iconic and most feared herbivores on the continent. Yet it is also one of the most heavily hunted. Each year, more than 20,000 individuals are killed to supply the trophy hunting industry, turning this powerful animal into a symbol where admiration and tragedy collide on the savannah. Adult males can reach up to 1.7 meters at the shoulder and stretch over 3 meters in length, with body weights approaching 725 kilograms, comparable to a fully loaded off-road vehicle. Their strength is legendary, built with immense mass, raw power, and an unyielding will to defend themselves. African buffalo are among the most formidable of all large herbivores. Even the most determined predators are often forced to reconsider. Their dark, dense coat offers protection against the relentless African sun. Despite their strength, buffalo life is closely tied to water. They rarely venture more than 16 kilometers from rivers, swamps, or permanent wetlands, remaining bound to the pulse of the landscape itself. What truly sets them apart, however, is their collective defense. When danger appears, the herd tightens its formation. Calves are pushed safely to the center while adults form a living barrier of muscle and horn. Their heavy curved horns, fused at the base, create a powerful shield capable of stopping even a charging attacker. And when escape is no longer possible, African buffalo do not flee. They stand their ground and fight as one. The shoebill is, without question, one of Africa's most unusual and captivating birds. Its massive bill, shaped like a wooden clog and nearly a foot in length, is a powerful tool, capable of seizing and crushing large fish, aquatic snakes, and even young crocodiles. Its habit of standing motionless for hours in the heart of a swamp often makes it appear like a living sculpture, carved by nature itself. This complete stillness is not accidental, but a flawless hunting strategy. By remaining perfectly still, the shoebill can ambush unsuspecting prey that wanders too close. With a wingspan exceeding 2.4 meters and a slow, deliberate flight style, it moves through the air in near silence, gliding just above the water's surface without disturbing it. Despite its prehistoric appearance, the shoebill is a masterfully adapted predator, a balance of strength, patience, and precision shaped by countless generations of evolution. With its piercing, watchful eyes and solemn posture, it has earned its reputation as the silent hunter of Africa's wetlands. Within the dense thickets of Combretum and Terminalia shrubs that blanket central Zimbabwe, a nearly invisible presence by day comes to life after sunset. The African crested porcupine moves quietly through the undergrowth, relying on darkness as its greatest ally. When threatened, it raises its formidable quills, some reaching up to 40 centimeters in length, forming an imposing barrier capable of discouraging even determined predators. This rodent is defined by a defensive strategy that is passive yet remarkably effective. During the dry season, as food becomes scarce, it ventures deeper into the forest in search of roots, tubers, and bark. Despite these challenging conditions, the porcupine remains resilient, supported by a specialized digestive system and an efficient nutritional strategy that allows it to extract maximum value from limited resources. Sharing the same landscape is another species that has chosen a completely different path to survival: the Patas monkey. Rather than hiding or digging in, it depends on speed. Bursting across open grasslands with explosive energy, the Patas monkey is the fastest primate in Africa, capable of reaching speeds of up to 55 kilometers per hour, nearly twice as fast as most other African monkeys when evading danger. Built for rapid movement, it has a slender frame, powerful hind limbs, and a long, flexible tail that acts as a counterbalance. Its appearance is equally distinctive, marked by reddish fur, a pale face, and dark lines around the eyes that resemble natural spectacles. Patas monkeys live in small groups led by a dominant male, are active during the day, and travel long distances as they forage for seeds and insects. Thanks to their exceptional agility and speed, Patas monkeys reduce their chances of close encounters with predators by as much as 40% compared to slower-moving primates in the same region. Not every species chooses a life of constant motion, but for the Patas monkey, speed is the ultimate form of protection. As the sun sinks beyond the plains of Zimbabwe, the traces of the day's struggles remain etched into the land. Predators and prey alike have taken part in an ancient contest of strategy, strength, and endurance where survival is never promised. In this unforgiving environment, every encounter, every chase, and every instinctive decision plays a role in sustaining an ecosystem that has endured for thousands of years. Yet beyond the intensity of these daily trials lies a deeper truth. Wildlife must be protected. Every species, whether small or powerful, holds an essential place in the natural balance. Their stories remind us that conservation is not a choice. It is a responsibility. One we carry to ensure that future generations can witness the beauty, resilience, and raw power of the natural world. If this journey through the wild has inspired you and revealed the value of life in all its forms, support the mission by liking the video and subscribing to Hidden Planet TV. Join us as we continue to explore, understand, and protect the extraordinary world of wildlife. The land splits into long fractures that cut across the plain like ancient scars. A heavy veil of dust drifts close to the ground, stretching toward the horizon. Above, thin clouds scatter, allowing sunlight to pour through and strike the hardened surface below. There is no flowing river here, yet the earth begins to tremble. Across the cracked crust, thousands of hooves strike in unison. With every step, dust erupts and spreads outward. The first animals move forward, and behind them the surge continues. Grasses bend in the direction of travel, carving a pathway that seems to have no end. The entire savanna moves to a single rhythm. From the open plains of the Serengeti to the gentle lowlands of the Masai Mara, the ground is no longer still. Herds of every size advance with the wind, guided by distant signs of rain. Each journey is part of a greater cycle, where survival depends on a migration timed with remarkable precision. Nothing in this ecosystem remains unchanged. It shifts with the seasons, with water, with the growth of grass, and with the passage of each herd. Every species plays a defined role, and every behavior helps sustain the pulse that keeps the plains alive. When one species begins to move, another immediately adjusts its course. As grass is grazed down to the soil, waste returns vital nutrients to the ground. When prey falls, decomposers are already in place. Together, the Serengeti-Masai Mara region functions as one of East Africa's central biological engines. Energy is generated the moment hooves strike the earth and is carried onward through every mouthful of grass, every chase, and every fallen body. Nothing in this system exists without purpose. Each element matters only when it flows with the natural rhythm. Across these untamed grasslands, the Great Migration draws all forms of life into a powerful predatory cycle that never truly pauses. Fresh shoots blanket the land after recent rains, their narrow leaves bent in unison by the wind. On the open plains, newborn calves stumble away from the birthing grounds and merge into the moving mass of adults, advancing without hesitation. They do not wait for strength to build. Motion begins at once. As the rainy season reaches the southern edge of the Serengeti, wildebeest herds leave their calving areas. The first groups cross the damp earth, trampling young growth and etching their path across the plain. The movement does not break. Smaller groups merge into larger bodies as herds from different directions converge along shared corridors. Routes may shift, but the overall direction remains unchanged. The pace is steady and relentless. Under thousands of hooves, the ground yields, forming deep impressions. Grass is pressed flat. Droppings fall in an unbroken pattern. The air grows heavy with the scent of bodies, waste, and churned soil. Every footprint marks the passage of a living current sweeping across the savanna. New life quickly appears in its wake. Dung beetles burrow beneath fresh mounds. Low-flying birds follow closely, and weaker wildebeest begin to lag behind. Their presence draws scavengers and predators waiting along the edges. The migration cuts through the grasslands, opening pathways that other species soon follow. Tall grasses vanish, old roots are broken, and the soil is loosened by hooves and organic matter. Each area they cross becomes a zone of biological renewal after the dry season. Every wildebeest plays a direct role while alive. They deposit nutrients and chemical traces. In death, their bodies become centers of decomposition. Birds, insects, and microbes arrive in layers. There is no need to search. Food is already available for scavengers. There is no delay. Beetles immediately begin their work. There is no isolation. Predators simply watch and wait for those that slip behind the flow. All life benefits from this concentrated movement. Wildebeest do not create the ecosystem, but they set it in motion. Microbial communities in the soil awaken as organic matter surges through the system. Other species begin their own journeys as the wild pulse passes. This ecosystem does not operate by chance. It responds precisely to the signals released by the migration. As the wildebeest press forward, the grazing zones along their migratory corridor are reshaped in real time. Life concentrates along their path, and every place they touch becomes a link between multiple biological layers. No single species clears the way alone. No cycle begins without a trigger. Reproduction follows the rhythm of the rains while the soil still holds moisture. New life is born. The moment the calves are able to stand, the herd moves on again. This tight synchronization offers protection from immediate predators, but it also sends powerful signals through the entire system. The landscape left behind changes rapidly. Grass sprouts where it was once trampled. Bacteria break down organic remains, and moisture is retained near the surface thanks to the fresh input of nutrients. For a time, each area crossed by the herd becomes a center of biological renewal. Other grazers arrive later, taking advantage of what remains. Older vegetation has already been consumed, allowing shorter, younger grasses to flourish. There is no direct competition. Many species rely on the wildebeest's passage as a natural process of clearing and renewal. The soil stays loose, roots spread more easily, and conditions align for the next cycle. The moving mass of wildebeest also reshapes the strategies of predators. Hunters must adjust their breeding seasons, ambush tactics, and territories according to the herd's pace and direction. Scavenging birds track the places where carcasses appear. Vultures, crows, and wild dogs gather around zones marked by decay. The ecosystem keeps time like a living structure. Rain may set the stage, but the wildebeest herd is the first mechanism to turn. No single animal chooses the route, yet together they generate enough momentum to drive the entire system. On the living map of the region, the wildebeest migration acts like a heartbeat. Each year, that pulse returns. From the southern calving grounds to the northern grasslands, every stretch of land responds in a predictable sequence. Other species do not exist because of the wildebeest alone, but the functioning of the system begins with their passage. Nothing in the herd's behavior happens in isolation. Every hoof that strikes the ground sets change in motion. The land shifts, vegetation is redistributed, and new life emerges. This is why wildebeest signal the beginning of the life cycle in East Africa, not because they are the strongest or the fastest, but because their first step sets the entire ecosystem in motion. Each year, when the first rains return and soften the land, a single hoof meets the ground once more. From that moment of contact, the cycle of life begins again. Short grasses spread across the damp soil at dawn. The air is still. At the edge of a shallow hollow, a pride of lions lies pressed low, concealed among scattered shrubs. Early light washes over their backs, blending with earth darkened by heat. In the distance, a wildebeest herd advances. The groups stretch into loose lines, shifting direction as they follow the low ground. Gaps begin to open between individuals. Young calves drift toward the edges, and the lions hold their ground, using the contours of the land, moving in wide, deliberate arcs. Each hunter keeps a precise distance. Angles of approach tighten from multiple sides. There is no warning, no prolonged chase. As the herd crosses the depression, the moment unfolds. One animal becomes separated. Its escape route narrows. An open patch of ground becomes the point where motion ends. The prey falls, and the grass is pressed flat beneath it. The lions spread out around the body. One secures the kill, while the others melt back into cover. The landscape settles into silence. Wind moves on. There is no struggle, no further disturbance. hoofprints remain etched into the loosened soil. The scent of blood begins to drift close to the ground. This hunt is driven by precision, not speed. Lions do not rely on long chases. They succeed through positioning, spacing, and a deep understanding of herd movement. Each individual plays a role. When the distance closes, force is applied together. Often, prey is taken in moments of imbalance, too far from protection and too close to avoid the closing circle. The outcome is shaped by natural behavior, not by chance or error. Once selected, the prey cannot recover its position. High above, scavenging birds sense the warmth of the body and begin to circle at altitude. On the ground, beetles detect the organic scent released into the air. Decomposers arrive even before the lions leave the site. Within hours, the soil around the carcass darkens, their fluids seep into the base of the grasses. Roots draw in the nutrients. Soil bacteria cling to what remains. New shoots begin to rise, guided by heat, moisture, and nitrogen. By afternoon, the pride rests beneath low trees stretched along the brush. Around them, the grass stands still once more. No major movement follows. The marks of their paws extend across the softened paths and fade at the edge of the plain. The morning hunt leaves no sound behind, but the land retains its evidence-absorbed fluids, embedded bones, and microbial changes already underway. Short grass spreads evenly across the open landscape, carrying forward the quiet imprint of what has passed. The ground is dry and fragile. Beneath low shrubs pressed close to the earth, a leopard moves without sound through narrow gaps. Its body stays flattened against the soil, detached from any motion above. The wind shifts again and again, pushing patches of grass in different directions. Nothing breaks the boundary of dust and shadow. The distance closes steadily, without disturbing the scene. Ahead, a group of Thompson's gazelles feeds, spaced in loose, even lines. Younger animals linger toward the outer edges, drifting with the breeze. Between hunter and herd, there is no cover, only open, arid ground. The leopard maintains a measured pace, making no sudden adjustments and never rushing the moment. At a workable range, it pauses beside a small rise. Its body folds into the edge of shade. The landscape holds its breath. When a leopard hunts on open plains, conditions must align gentle undulations in the land, evenly scattered shrubs, and prey that remains spread out rather than tightly grouped. Hunting alone leaves no margin for recovery once detected. A single misstep sharply reduces the chance of success. There is no partner to disrupt the herd, no coordinated retreat. Every phase depends on closing the gap with absolute precision. If that limit is crossed, the prey reacts and control is lost. The leopard is not built for endurance across open ground. Its strength lies in short bursts of speed. Each chase unfolds over a brief distance. If the line breaks or the gazelle responds instantly, the attempt fails, and failure is more common than success. Not due to a lack of skill, but because the leopard's hunting space is shaped by countless variables: wind direction, sun angle, grass height, and prey distribution. Even so, its presence alone alters gazelle behavior. Small herds rarely remain spread out in exposed areas. Youngsters draw closer to their mothers. Feeding pauses. Groups quicken their pace when crossing zones with limited visibility. A successful kill is not required to leave an effect. The mere appearance of a leopard reshapes herd formation and rest patterns. Grazing cycles shift, reducing pressure on a single spot and spreading vegetation used more evenly across the region. Leopards do not challenge lions or hyenas through open conflict. Their solitary approach adds a second layer of influence. They avoid direct competition, yet they shape how prey occupies the landscape. No herd stays concentrated for long. No herbivore holds prolonged control over the plains. This irregular presence forces prey to disperse in search of lower risk. No group maintains the same structure long enough to damage grass growth. No area is stripped bare. The pressure is subtle but constant. A baseline level of alertness persists, even without active hunts. The leopard favors isolation and leaves little trace. It draws no gatherings of scavengers. Small prey is consumed quickly, leaving minimal remains and little scent to attract larger species. By selecting smaller animals, the leopard limits interference and avoids attention. Its role rarely sparks conflict within the predator network. As evening approaches, it withdraws quietly from the edge of the plain. Across the Grumeti Plains, the ground bears fine cracks left by a brief dry spell. Fresh grass has emerged, though it has not yet grown dense. Moving through the open landscape, a herd of zebras advances in a broad, organized line. Their passage raises little dust. The great wildebeest herds are still distant, not yet reaching this transitional zone. Striped bodies glide across the plain, trimming the grass as they head east and northeast. Shadows stretch over the pale soil. Larger individuals hold a steady pace, while smaller groups remain along the edges. The leading position shifts constantly. Their route is traced as a lighter band across the land. Grass bends and flattens into a gentle arc. Zebras typically travel ahead of the main migratory waves. They enter areas still untouched by hooves, following paths of their own. No collective signal is required. As soon as rainfall is sufficient to lift the grass slightly, the herd begins to move. Their journey remains local, yet it consistently precedes the peak of migration. This timing introduces a different rhythm into the system. Zebras do not wait for grass to reach its most tender stage. They arrive early, feeding on the upper portions of the stems and leaving the lower layers undisturbed. When other grazers follow later, the grass has already been trimmed closer to the ground, better suited to their feeding styles. As the herd crosses the region, it leaves a clear grazing line shaped by the direction of the wind. Vegetation is cut evenly. Low shrubs lose much of their cover, allowing more sunlight to reach the soil. The landscape becomes brighter and more open. Understory plants begin to reorganize in response to the new structure. Throughout their movement, zebras do not maintain rigid formations. They travel in spaced groups, widening the grazing corridor. At shallow water sources, the herd breaks into smaller units, each using different patches of vegetation depending on the terrain. This division creates a layered effect. Every cleared section becomes accessible to other life forms. From insects and ground birds to small herbivores, no single area remains crowded for long. The remaining biological layers are reshaped evenly across the plain. Zebras do not graze down to the roots. They affect only the upper growth, preserving the base. This residual layer becomes ideal for low-grazing species such as gazelles, warthogs, and smaller trailing groups of wildebeest. By moving first, zebras slow the intensity of impact caused by the larger herds that arrive later. Their breeding is not concentrated in one mass, allowing them to split freely into smaller groups. These units move independently without disrupting the broader migratory cycle. Each advances at its own pace, giving grasslands time to recover. No area becomes a lasting bottleneck within the system. When predators draw near, zebras do not respond by tightening into a dense mass. Instead, they fan out across open ground, breaking formation rather than compressing it. This behavior disrupts hunting strategies that rely on confusion within tight groups. By spreading apart, the pressure of pursuit is diluted, increasing escape opportunities for other species sharing the landscape. The tracks zebras leave behind are shallow yet continuous. Their droppings fall widely spaced instead of accumulating in heavy clusters. This even distribution enriches the soil surface, helping the grass retain moisture at its base. From these scattered nutrients, soil bacteria begin to expand. Dung beetles soon arrive, drawn by scent, turning and loosening the earth so new roots can take hold. From an ecological standpoint, zebras create a horizontal flow of biological movement. Their impact lacks the vertical force of wildebeest hooves or the concentrated pressure exerted by buffalo. But this steady passage reduces direct stress on the land. The ground absorbs a lighter, prolonged influence that is spread evenly across the plains. Predators adjust their routines to follow zebra movements, increasing the chances of successful ambushes. Lions, hyenas, and wild dogs position themselves in areas not yet reshaped by massive herds. Before the main migration arrives, regions such as Grumeti function as independent hunting grounds. As a result, predation pressure is distributed more evenly over time. Zebras do not impose an intense biological load, but they help disperse its effects. The system absorbs this energy at multiple points. The soil is not disturbed for extended periods. Roots retain part of their protective layer, and recovery cycles resume more quickly after each change. During transitional seasons, if only the Great Migration crossed these plains, the land would bear the full force in a very short window. The soil would not have time to recover. Microorganisms would also struggle to multiply fast enough. Grass would be torn out by the roots rather than simply trimmed. Without zebra herds, the migratory corridor would lose its first layer of distribution. Predator activity would become compressed into fewer moments, and restoration cycles would lack a buffer. The grassland would shift in color more rapidly, exposing roots too early. The ecosystem would lose its characteristic resilience, becoming a narrow and fragile passage across open terrain. Zebras leave no dramatic aftermath, yet each passing group clears the surface, opens sight lines, and allows wind to move freely for a brief time. Every quiet wave of migration strengthens the system. It is this staggered, subtle rhythm that prevents the entire migratory movement from collapsing into a single, overwhelming surge. Across the open grassland, a narrow path cuts through the plain. Dust lifts lightly along a zigzag line, while the wind slips through mid-height grasses, carrying traces of movement that have not yet faded. Thompson's gazelles appear in small, scattered clusters, each animal keeping a carefully measured distance, guided by finely tuned instinct. On bare ground, there are no obstacles and no tall cover. Every movement is swift, marked by sudden turns that shorten the time spent within a predator's line of sight. When danger emerges on the horizon, the gazelles spring away on diagonal paths, Their escape routes curve unpredictably, forming a web of motion that is nearly impossible to read. Within moments, the group's structure loosens under outward pressure, then reforms once the threat passes. Calving takes place in isolated spots across the dry plain. The gazelles do not gather, nor do they remain in one place. Each female selects her own patch of short grass and moves at her own pace. As soon as the young can stand, the group shifts again, leaving no clear traces and no prolonged pauses. This scattered strategy prevents gazelles from becoming easy targets. Lions, hyenas, and leopards usually succeed only when an individual strays too far from the group's flow. Most maintain a steady rhythm, avoiding major breaks in formation. Speed aids their escape, but it is their unpredictable direction that most often disrupts an ambush. In such an exposed landscape, there is no true shelter. Gazelles turn openness itself into a defense. The clearer the space, the lower the risk. During the peak of the dry season, they make up much of the remaining biomass. While larger herds like wildebeest and zebras have already moved on, gazelles continue to travel steadily across the plains. They graze close to the ground, feeding on shoots that have not been trampled. Their constant motion prevents the grass from losing its color entirely. Each passage attracts small scavengers, field insects, and ground-dwelling birds. Their hooves leave shallow impressions that hold moisture just long enough for new growth to emerge. Areas crossed by gazelles often recover faster than untouched ground. Their ability to leave sensitive spots and return from different directions sustains a continuous rhythm of life. No species can survive by remaining fixed in one pattern here. Persistence depends on movement without permanent roots. Gazelle groups connect scattered pockets of life into a lasting biological flow. They serve as a buffer between top predators and lower levels of the food web. Without triggering population surges, they help maintain surface stability. When gazelles vanish from a region, the middle layer of prey collapses, forcing predators to shift abruptly and disrupting the natural order. The ecosystem loses its balancing force. Within the vast movement of the Serengeti Mara, gazelles act like a seam between ecological layers, thin yet vital. Each time they skim the ground in flight, they leave a subtle imprint. From that imprint, the rhythm of life holds its balance. After a night of rain, the ground remains damp, and a low mist still clings to the grass. From a shallow hollow at the edge of the plain rises a sour scent, the unmistakable sign of old flesh. Lying on its side is a carcass, the hide torn open in a long, ragged seam. Spotted hyenas approach from different points on the horizon. Within the group, order is precise. Each animal takes a position around the body without chaos or struggle. Powerful jaws tear effortlessly through tissue, stripping away large sections of meat and exposing bare bone. Slowly, the carcass is reduced and scattered by wind and movement. As the main structure collapses, younger hyenas move in from the edges. Their teeth are not searching for soft flesh. They lock into joints, separate limbs, and remove the final fragments clinging to bone. Only dry soil adheres to the exposed marrow. Everything else is broken down into small, disappearing pieces. Hyenas operate as a highly organized unit. Dominant individuals choose moments to hunt when conditions favor them. It is not an ending for predators or prey, but for the entire cycle that begins again where flesh breaks down. No presence interrupts and regulates the system as effectively as the hyena. They enter hunting grounds, tear flesh from powerful animals, and consume what remains. When they leave, the land is clean. No odor, no residue, no biological risk. On the living map of the savannah, where every creature leaves behind waste, only the hyena turns those remnants into a starting point. No other animal consumes what is left at the very end. When all have moved on, only dust remains, and the distant echo of the hyena, marking clearly that the cycle is complete and the ground is ready to begin again. Across the vast African plains, the great migrations reveal survival in its purest form. Every crossing, every shift in direction, every split-second choice can determine who endures and who falls behind. Danger is ever-present, unseen predators, deceptive rivers, and a harsh landscape that tests even the strongest bodies and instincts. Yet, despite these risks, millions of animals press forward, driven by an ancient impulse to endure, adapt, and keep moving. In this endless journey, unity becomes strength, resolve becomes protection, and survival stands as the sole objective. With this, we conclude our exploration of one of the most powerful and extraordinary spectacles in the natural world.